G'day Internet and welcome back to another video. So as most of you probably know, as well as the whole vintage computer thing, I'm also a bit of a toy collector. I've got Transformers, Action Man, a bunch of Star Wars Black Series, some vintage Star Wars, things like that. But one brand I didn't really grow up with was Mego. But I was in Big W the other day, I was looking for something, probably Transformers or Black Series, and they had some of these hanging off the shelf. And I thought, that's a bit interesting. And I pulled out my phone and gave it a quick Google. And I'd completely missed the boat on this. But Mego as a brand has actually been bought back and are producing old school, basically re-release figures. And they had the Star Trek ones there on the shelf, just a couple of them. So I grabbed the ones they had and I've picked up a couple since. And I'm actually really liking them. So why don't we take a quick look of what you can get today. So this is a bit of a sample of what I've managed to pick over the last couple of weeks. I got Spock, Kirk and the Romulan from Big W. I managed to find Uhura at Toymate, and the other three Wrath of Khan figures I picked up online. Now, I just want to point out one quick thing. I thought it was a bit strange that Wave 1 included Kirk and Spock in their kind of dress uniform, which appeared once in the two-part The Menagerie, which is essentially a flashback episode to the original pilot. So I thought that was a bit strange, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Now, these are just like the original Mego figures from back in the day, as far as I am aware. Like I said, I didn't grow up with them. But they have, I think they're rated as 14 points of articulation, and so you've got shoulder, which comes out a bit. You've got elbow, wrist, which is usually, mine are all quite stiff. Rotating head, hips, waist, knees, and that's it. There's no ankles or anything like that. And they're a very simple design. Like I said, they're straight from the 70s when they were originally released, and I'm pretty sure either they've completely redone the molds or they've managed to find the original molds. But so there we have Spock with his live long and prosper hand. Careful standing him up. Here is Kirk from the original series in his dress uniform again. Most of them come with at least some accessories. Both Kirk and Spock come with their phaser and their communicator, and fabric pants and top with Velcro down the back to hold it on. Then we have Uhura, who is kind of leaning against the other packets because she does not stand up. She comes in her little dress, and I think that's meant to be a different kind of communicator. The hair has all been done and is actually kind of stiff, which is good, I guess, because it won't come apart like the vintage ones did. A pair of stockings and a pair of boots, which make her impossible to stand up. So, come on, stand. It's not going to happen, right? You're going to go have a lay down. Then up the back, we've got the three Wrath of Khan figures that I picked up and the Romulan. So let's at least get one of them out of the packet and take a look at those, because they do come with some slightly different accessories. Right, so I'll grab Kirk because he's on the end and cut him open. And they simply come on a plastic bubble thing and a little bit of artwork in the back, which is kind of nice. I like that. And here is Kirk from the Wrath of Khan. So it does have a slightly different head mold, which I think is kind of cool. Same amount of articulation. You can even fold the front down like he has seen a few times. It doesn't really stay down. Got the same communicator, a slightly different phaser, Velcro up the back, pants, and the boots on all of them, except for Ahura, are actually just molded in black from the knee down. So that's him. We've got our little Starfleet badge and also on the belt. And he's actually quite a good looking figure. I like that. You've got your rank insignia on the sleeve. And there is Kirk. Is he going to stand up? Yep, he's going to stand up. Well, while we're at it, let's get, say, the Romulan out as well. And there's our Romulan. He comes with a removable helmet, I believe, which I'm not going to try and get off. And again, he actually has separate boots, and he actually, unlike Ahura, he actually stands up. Same phaser and communicator as the original Spock and Kirk. With this nice kind of metallic fleck top and his scarf thing. And he's quite a good looking figure as well. Now, so the whole thing about Mego was that all the bodies were the same. Their little trick was to use the same body on everything, maybe slightly different colour, and then simply change the heads and change the uniform. And that was kind of the way they were obviously able to keep costs down, but that was kind of their shtick, if you know what I mean. And back in the day, they also did like obviously all the superhero figures, which are really, really well known, especially the Batman is probably the most famous of that. And don't jump on eBay and look at the current second-hand prices of a vintage Mego Batman. You will fall off your chair. But there's a couple of them there. Now, I just want to go back to the first two that I showed you, which is Spock and Kirk in their dress uniforms. And like I said, I thought it was a bit strange that they would do these straight up and not their normal blue and mustard colour, just normal tops. Now, those ones are available, and even the vintage ones aren't stupidly expensive for some reason. But I had a bit of time on my hands, and so I made some. So this is one that I knocked together a ridiculously quick pattern. And this is just a bit of adhesive paper and some extra double-sided sticky tape just to make it a bit more secure. So there's obviously Kirk's, and there's Spock's. So if you give me a moment to take these tops off and put these on, because they are quite fiddly, because I made them out of kind of a stretch t-shirt material, to give them a reasonably decent fit, although Spock's turned out a little small. Let me get them dressed, and I'll show you how they turned out. And there we go. There's the two little tops that I made. I believe these uniforms are actually now available, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to make my own. And I think they actually turned out pretty good. The only thing I couldn't really do was the rank insignia on the sleeves. If you have a look at Ahura, it's actually printed. And I tried a few different ribbon options and it just didn't work out, and it ended up being really messy. So all in all, that's kind of my small collection of modern Mego there we go, modern Mego figures. And I actually think they're really cool. So what is my takeaway from all these figures? Well, if you like that simplistic, really kind of basic articulated and moulding from toys from back in the day, so 70s and early 80s kind of stuff, then I think you're really going to like these, even if, like me, you didn't grow up with Mego. I do really like the fabric made uniforms. It's almost got that Action Man feel to it, and I've got a reasonable collection of Action Man that I've done a lot of repairs and custom stuff on myself. So that kind of thing really does interest me personally. Now, if you're the kind of toy collector that's really more into like the hyper detailed, hyper articulated things like Black Series or Marvel Legends, and that's what really interests you, then these are probably an easy pass. But for me, I really like them because I like the simplicity. And if that's the kind of thing that you're into, maybe it's worthwhile picking a few up, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. So that'll do for now. If you liked the video, click like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.